Joining me in the room today is Megan Rosado, 2-1 amateur bantamweight, heading to Cage Titans Combat Night 2 next Saturday night, September 7th. Her fourth time in the cage, and her first time going to Cage Titans. Welcome to the show, and thanks for giving me some time, Megan. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Before we talk about fighting and all that good stuff, summer's winding down. It's the end. You've been in training camp. Have you been able to enjoy your summer at all, other than getting ready for this fight?
Yeah, I try to enjoy it as much as I can. I still did stuff with my family as well as train. I have a portion within the day that I have free, so because I work overnight, so it makes it a little bit easier to hang out with the kids.
Excellent. Do you like? I worked overnights. Do you like overnights? Do you have to work overnights, and do you like it?
I don't really agree with daycares, so that's why I worked overnights. And I don't mind them at all. I like to have my day to myself.
Excellent.
And so yeah, I prefer them over working my entire day.
Excellent. Well, you can train at any time, morning, noon, or night. You know what I mean? Train right before you go to work, after you get out of work. So I see what you mean, because I work that shift, and you can do things during the day, and no one's around, so it's kind of cool. So we got a big fight coming. Your first time coming to Cage Titans. Have you ever been to Plymouth Memorial Hall to ever see a Cage Titans fight?
Never.
Oh.
And it's like 3.5 hours from where I live.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in the last few months, there's been a lot of fighters from, your neck of the woods making their way to the Cage Titans, and, a lot of promotions around, this side of Massachusetts, Providence and stuff. So they have experienced it, man. I mean, you fought, Neff's a big promotion. They have always sell out. But have you heard like stories how really cool it is to fight in that place? I'm sure you've seen a lot of fight footage there.
Yeah, it's actually one of the venues that I've wanted to fight at for a while, and it was cool that my coach got me in there with some of my teammates.
Yeah, you got some teammate, you got some crew coming down, so you're gonna have some company in there. I think Audrey's fighting, but is she fighting MMA or kickboxing?
We have Adina.
Adina, I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
And
we have she's doing Muay Thai. And then we have Mo, and he's doing MMA as well.
Excellent.
And you talked. I think you talked to Mo's opponent. No, it wasn't you. It was somebody else.
Yeah, someone got him. But I did talk to Mo. I did talk to Mo on Instagram. We might get an interview in before he really gets down to cutting all that weight or whatever he's got to get through this week. But to get back to you, you're coming into a big place. And you're fighting Rachel Reinheimer, who I would imagine it's her home turf because she comes out of City on Tongue, Boston, and they have fighters. Actually, Jay Perrin is Cage Titans bantamweight pro champion, and he does train with her. So you got a big fight. What are you thinking about this matchup? And Rachel's. She's got some fights out there, but she hasn't fought in, I think, like 3 years in MMA, that is. She's done some Muay Thai fights. But have you been watching her? Anything, anything stick out that, you're looking forward to in this matchup?
I'm pretty excited for the matchup because we've been trying to get her to fight for a little time now. So it's cool that I actually get to fight her. She's an awesome person.
Yeah.
And she's a hard worker, and I know she's gonna come at me.
Yeah.
And she's been working pretty hard. But this will also be my first time in a big cage.
Yeah.
Neff is way smaller than that. That's another side note.
Okay. Is that a positive for you, or something you're gonna have to get used to?
I guess it could go both ways.
Yeah.
I know Muay Thai fighters like range, like distance and open space. So, for two different, I guess it's just gonna be like a really fun fight because we both have two different styles. And I've noticed, I think her last Muay Thai fight was, 7 months ago or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was for No Boundary.
And then, Yeah, and then her MMA. I've watched maybe 2 of her fights. And I mean, I don't really, like I said in my last interview or whatever, I don't really like to study people beforehand because it kind of can throw me off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I saw little bits and pieces of them, and I was like, okay, you get an understanding of how they stand, how they hit, and then basically go from there.
Yeah, and it's been a long gap in her MMA career. So what the fighter she was 3 years ago is not the fighter she is now, you know, and the fighter she was 7 months ago.
Right.
So yeah, so you can't go by that. And I'm sure your coaches are doing all that research, and they just come back to you with a game plan. Speaking of coaches and all that, who you training with? Who's getting you ready for this fight?
I mostly train with Nate Libby, but I've also trained with CJ Kelly and Christian Kramer, and a little bit with Bruce, and I guess all my coaches, because I've also trained with Taylor.
Yeah.
I've had little pieces of everybody, but mostly Nate Libby. A lot of stuff with him, because I like his style of MMA.
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to kind of train the way that you want to be. So.
Nice. Well,
kind of cool.
You speak about, you know, you watching Rachel her last Muay Thai fight. So are you thinking she's gonna try to keep this fight standing because, you know, because your jiu-jitsu or we really don't know what's going on there. But if that's the case, I mean, Megan, you're coming out of a fight where you basically TKO'd a girl, beat her up pretty bad, and I think a minute 30 or something your last fight, and that was what back in June. So you're fairly fresh and fairly you know, positive in your game because, you know, you actually your debut you fought Glory Watson, who's the NEF amateur champion. So and you brought her to a split decision. So from your debut, you've progressed great. I mean, you had a split decision win, I think, your next fight, and then you just knocked some girl out basically. So I mean, this is big for you going into probably the biggest place to fight on the South Shore there. In Cage Titans, man, I'm excited for you. You got butterflies coming into there because you know you're gonna come into. I mean, even though you got a team backing you and you got some fans coming with you, you're going into a pretty much a place you haven't been to. You know, foreign territory, I have to say. Is there any nerves, and are you excited about that experience?
I don't really get the nerves till like 4 or 5 fights in. Which I'm pretty sure that I might be lower on the card this time because I think he said that I'm on the undercard.
Okay.
So I don't really have that time to have the nerves. So I guess I'll get them maybe as I walk in the door. But I've also never been that far away, so it'll be definitely a different experience.
It'll be great, and it is a great experience. And if you're gonna go anywhere as far as to another promotion. Cage Titans, they're going to treat you very good there. You're going to be very surprised on how much they support you and they accommodate you, make you feel good. Mike Pulvey is a great dude, and he'll make you feel at home. Like you got, fighters come from your neck of the woods making their way back, fighting, on 2 or 3 fights already for them. So good for that. As far as your corner, who's going to be in your corner helping you out there?
I usually have Nate Libby, TJ Kelly, and Bruce Carlton.
Oh, your same trainer, of course, the trainer.
Yeah.
Trainers and training partners. As far as getting ready for this fight, you're always progressing, and like we just talked about, from your first fight on, you progressed. Anything you've been adding? Anything in your training regiments? Anything to evolve as a fighter in this training camp?
Well, I knew she was a Muay Thai girl, so I worked on some Muay Thai stuff, more based on that. I'm already pretty good on the ground, so I like to try to work on things that, will help me in the fight that I'm going into. So, she has experience there, so I was going to get more experience there. So, we've been working on that. Excellent.
Well, you're fighting at the bantamweight class. Is that where your home is? Is that where you feel at home and comfortable and a good weight for you to fight at?
We're just dabbling with it right now. I'd like to go to 125, but that's up to my coaches, and they kind of watch how I am, how I act with the certain weight classes, and they're gonna determine whether I'm set in there or I can move, and I trust them. So.
Well, it comes with experience and adding more and more to your game. I'm sure
Yeah.
and you know what? Well, of course you know what. You used to be a heavy set girl in the past, right? When you first started, camp. I troll you on Facebook and stuff. I'm like a fan of MMA and you and all the new up and comers. I mean, you have pictures on there when you were going through a pregnancy and you were heavy. And is the gym what turned it around for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. Mostly, it was the wanting to get in the cage. Anyone can work out, but you have to have, some kind of goal. And my goal was to get into the cage, and you can't fight unless you make that weight. So I had to make that weight, and I guess that was my biggest challenge, and it's brought me to where I am now. So it worked.
Excellent. Well, what have you been fighting? MMA, what, 11 months? Less than that? 10 months or so? Like, how many months we on right now? 10 months or so?
My first fight was November 2018, I think it was.
We're close. So this is going to be a fourth fight in less than a year. I mean, you're on a pretty good pace here. And the way, speaking to you in the past and watching you train on Facebook and all, you're very hungry. And you're one of them, them gym rats who are always in there and, just want to get better, a sponge. You speak about goals. I don't want to get past this fight, but, you're amateurs and you want to get fights under your belt. What is your goal, in the coming future? 2019 is winding down. You could get on another card before the end of the year, but what's your goal? What is, what's Megan's goal in this MMA stuff here?
I would like to make it to the UFC, and I'm training towards that, and then obviously there's steps to getting there, but I've also seen people come from just pro fighting to like Dana White's Contender Series or whatever, and then getting to the UFC from there. So I mean, or I've seen some girls go to like the One Championship or something like that. So, or Bellator. Mm-hmm. But those are all bigger names. I don't know, just I like fighting, and I like how it makes me feel. So I don't know, it just makes me happy.
Well,
I mean most people fight with aggression, but for me it's not aggression. It's fun.
It's a release.
You'll see me, like when I train, I smile.
Awesome. Well, Megan, like you bet a year you've already progressed this much. I mean, by the middle of next year, like you talked about, some of these promotions, even Bellator are taking, debut pros 1-0, 2-0, and especially women in New England. It's hard to get women on professional cards. So you got a lot of stock in New England. If you keep producing like you are and you keep progressing like you are, and fighting for Cage Titans, you're going to be on Flow Combat. It's going to be kind of a whole new world, a whole new reach of people for you to get at, and especially if you go to Cage Titans and you fight Rachel, and you take her out, man, that's a big step for you doing that there. So, last thing for you, social media, thank yous, and last words about this fight, and we'll let you get back to enjoying your holiday weekend as much as you can in training.
I have my coaches, obviously, I named them all. My training partners, my sponsors, which I have East Coast Builders, Outlaw Clothing, which is a new one. Nice. Gerard Law, that's another new one. I have Tony's Touch, who does my braids. I have, I have Trevor Kell Paint, the gym.
Evolution,
I feel like
right?
I'm forgetting.
Evolution.
Taco Sport and Fitness.
Well, you know what if you forget any, you know what I tell the fighters? Just tag them all in the interview when you share it, and then I'll take them tags and I'll add it to it, so they'll all get some credit.
I also have SPC Paving Company.
There you go.
And Jody Morris Massage. I think that's all of them.
They always you always think of them at the end, right at the. All right, yeah. There's a couple more, but I'm glad. I'm glad to see you're adding more. Last question. I need some you to spill the beans. You talked about the braids. The last time you fought, you had beautiful, I think red, white, and blue braids in there. Is there any? What are we doing? Anything special here? Or is it a secret?
Well, there's not really like a theme type thing, but I have a plan.
All right. So we're gonna see some bling in the braids coming out on the 7th. Then, all right.
Basically, just different colors.
All right.
But I mean.
It's all cool. It all looks cool.
It's all fun.
Yeah, it's all good time. Last thing, social media, how we get in touch with you. You still got a week to get rid of tickets. So shout out your social media.
Awesome. Yes, definitely.
Oh, shout it out. Shout it out.
Shout out?
No, your social media. How do you get there?
I have Megan Marie on Facebook, and then Italian Girl 10 on Instagram.
Excellent.
And then I have Megan Rosado MMA also on Facebook.
Which is a business page. Which
which is
you're all doing it. All you amateurs are doing it right. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Megan, thank you so much for coming on. Holiday weekend. I know you got to spend time with the family, get that training in. You got a weight cut coming up. But thank you so much. I'll be seeing you Friday at weigh-ins, and I'll be, meeting you for the first time in person and welcome you to. Cage Titans, and you're gonna have a great time, and put on a great show, and great things for you ahead.
Awesome. That sounds awesome.
Awesome. So Megan Rosado, 2-1 amateur, bantamweight, coming to Cage Titans, Combat Night 2, Saturday night, September 7th. First time in Cage Titans cage for her, a bigger cage. We're gonna see this girl go. Thank you so much, Megan. You have a great weekend. Haha.